That didn't quite answer my question, but you do bring up a good point. When did you first recognize these gaps in time?
Karter gazes upon a grand oak, its gnarled branches mirroring the ones etched in their memory. This tree was a landmark in their youth and held many stories. Its bark bore the scars of countless inscriptions, declarations of love, hopeful height markers, and one that stood out starkly in its permanence: Reader for Life, carved by them and their best friend years ago. A bittersweet feeling thrums within them. Back then, time flowed like a carefree river, untouched by the undercurrents of arguments and fights echoing above. The two were lost in their world of childhood games, blissfully unaware of the impending change that would tear them apart, Reed's family moving away, leaving a chasm in their childhood bond. Reaching out, they traced the faded inscription, their fingers lingering over weathered grooves. It was a tangible link to that bygone era, a time of untainted friendship and unwavering loyalty. They yearned to recapture the warmth and security of those days, even if only for a fleeting moment. This was the Scape, a haven carved from Carter's imagination, a sanctuary from harsh realities of the present. Here, with the power of daydreaming, the past danced with the present, and memories unfolded like vibrant tapestries, offering solace from the storm of reality raging just outside. Gazing at a vast horizon, the sky was painted in a spectacle of clashing blues and reds, an eternal aurora borealis cascading across the heavens. The sun, once a bright beacon, was now eclipsed perpetually, casting an otherworldly twilight glow on the landscape. Every mark in the Scape, the swirling colors, the impossible sky, the eternal twilight, was a testament to their will, a desperate need to escape, to express their emotions that roiled within them. For now, the world outside faded into insignificance as they drifted through their imagined environment. The snap of a twig shattered the silence. From behind the great oak tree, a figure emerged, its back turned, but yet they resembled someone most familiar. A name stumbled from Carter's lips. Reed? The figure pivoted, revealing the face of their childhood friend, much older now. A wave of relief washed over them, momentarily pushing back the weight of the outside world, but even in the comfort of the Scape, a strange disquiet remained, a seed of unease planted. Questions tumbled out of them in a torrent, their pace uncharacteristically frantic. Reed, what are you doing here? I didn't even realize. Then, Reed's voice pierced their burning curiosity, carrying a solution and something else. Karter, she cut through, tinged with a concern masked by an almost unsettlingly deep adoration for the fantastical landscape surrounding them. How long have you been in here? Confused, Karter tried to recollect when they'd entered. Actually, they stammered, actually trying to rationalize the lost time. I don't know. I always lose track of time in here. Karter, you've been here for hours. Reed spoke with an essence of perception and quickness, but as the words left her mouth, a subtle shift in her voice sent a chill down Carter's spine. A pit formed in their stomach, slow and heavy. Reed, they pressed, their voice trembled. I think the better question is how you got here. The Scape, their haven, had always been their creation, accessible only to them. How? Doubt gnawed at them as they watched Reed. Then a light, an unsettling orange glow emanated from their friend's eyes. Behind the light was something deeper, something powerful, and as it intensified, the once comforting clearing morphed into a hostile domain. The air was dense with suffocation. The vibrant hues of the Scape bled into an oppressive dimness, from rolling greens, blues, and reds to splattering grays, whites, and blacks. It was as if paint had splattered across the clearing. Uncertainty hit Karter. They tried to stammer out an explanation, but just as the transformation began, their vision blurred. Through the haze, they saw Reed morph into a different figure. Their familiar form was replaced by an entity radiating a faint purple light. They looked human, yet something was off. In the Scape, Karter could sense the fire within people, their essence, and this entity was devoid of it. Most imagined creations had some soul, but this was different. Every step it took towards them resonated with malice, shredding the environment as it approached. Suddenly, they were slammed into the ground by an unseen force, seemingly controlled by this entity, giving a mere wave of its hand. Karter struggled, pinned to the ground, lashing and contorting. The entity crouched down, its orange eyes swirling in a way that sent a wave of vertigo coursing through them. Eventually their eyes settled on an eerie amber, one that resembled their own. "Howdy, partner," it drawled, its voice oddly distorted as if chewing something unseen. "Looks like you and I are going to be in this for the long haul." Karter flinched as the entity reached out a hand. "Whoa there," it soothed, an unnatural glint in its eyes. "Nothing here is hostile against you. Just wanted to take the precaution when meeting in your little place. You ain't got nothing to worry about." It spoke with confidence. "You don't like the outside, right?" The entity's voice, a chilling chorus of whispers, wrapped around Karter like a suffocating cloak, hijacking their attention, focusing their eyes against their will to meet this thing's. "Well, that's fine, because I've seen what it's like, and frankly, I find the environment unpleasant, yet tolerable." It paused, a gesture that mirrored an unsettling twitch in its eyes. Thin, brittle, full of empty noise. Its elongated fingers, tipped with unnatural talons, seemed to rake through its hair, an impossibly blonde tone. However, as it did so, the color of the hair began to change, shifting, and eventually, as it began to rake over and over, the impossible blonde began to shift to match Karter's blackened hair. "Now, I don't intend to harm you, not directly, but we do need an understanding if you ever wish to leave this little world again." The entity's voice shifted, each word echoing faintly with the voices of countless others. "This may be your haven, Karter," it spoke, as if reciting a well-rehearsed script, "but I am its ruin." Its voice seemed to fracture, spreading around and into Karter like a swarm of insects attempting to invade their skull. "And you, my friend, are caught in the crossfire." A predatory grin stretched across its face. Karter forced their eyes away, the world blurring in and out of focus. The entity loomed just outside their reach, its chilling words muffled by the relentless ringing in their ears. It was a sound that bonded itself to the clanging of prison bars, a sound that echoed constantly in their mind. Tears welled up, blurring their vision further. They spilled over, landing on the vibrant grass of the Scape. And as they lie on the ground of their imaginary world, a chilling realization dawned. The life force had seeped out of the very world they created, replaced by a desolate grave wherever their tears touched. The Scape, their sanctuary, was withering under this entity's influence. As Karter stared up at the entity, the ringing in their ears reaching a fever pitch, the air crackled with tension that threatened to shatter. Just as despair threatened to consume them, a faint sound pierced silence between Karter and the hostile entity. "Hey, are you okay?" A voice called out, laced with concern, from the outside world, echoing inwards into the Scape. It felt like it was on the outskirts of their mind. Karter's eyes snapped towards the source, seemingly the skies itself of this imaginary world. A flicker of hope ignited in their eyes. They would break this dissociation. The entity turned its head, its gaze following Karter's, and a low grumble rumbled from its throat, a hint of unease creeping into its voice. "You don't know what you'll be doing if you leave me here," it rasped, a seriousness seeping from its tone for the first time. "You really want to risk this, biscuit?" Finally, the seed of unease that had been planted earlier had been culled, and Karter knew this was their one chance to break free of the entity before its control became too absolute. With a deep breath, they summoned all their remaining strength, pushing against the unseen forces that pinned them, drawing the attention that they could muster from the entity, siphoning it away slowly. A primal scream tore from their throat, a desperate cry for help that echoed through the Scape and beyond. "Help!" The world dissolved in a blur of color and sound. The entity's enraged speech mingled with the fading echo of their own voice as they were ripped from the Scape, elongating and spaghettifying into a single strand of consciousness before being ripped into two separate forms. Karter gasped, eyes flying open to the harsh glare of reality. They found themselves lying on a cold, damp ground, the scent of old grunge filling their nostrils. Disoriented and blinking back tears, they looked up to see a concerned face peering down at them, blinking lights and old gasoline lingering in the air.